This is going to be a complete replacement of the brake rotors with these big rotors. They're a lot bigger than stock, so I'm going to be able to stop a lot better, but they don't have the price tag of carbon ceramic, because why pay $20,000 for carbon ceramic when you're barely going to use them? These are from MountainPass Performance. I've worked with them in the past. What's really cool about these, we're just going to replace the rotor. We're going to keep using the stock caliper. This is a very good caliper. Brembo actually makes it, but we're going to replace it with this larger than stock rotor. This is a 400 millimeter rotor. The stock one is 380. So you can get the same one, so you don't have to put a bracket on it. If you don't want to go from the 19s to bigger wheels, you're going to have to do that. But also, if you don't want to remove the dust shield, you can run the stock size. But this is a little bit bigger. You're going to stop a little bit better. That's the cool part about brakes. If you're going to upgrade something, you want to stop better. These are vented. These are a lot lighter than the stock ones. Yes, they are still steel brakes, but they're going to last a lot longer. The sidewalls are, the brake itself are thicker, so it's going to be able to dissipate the heat better. Whether you're on the track or on the street, this is a good deal. $1,600 for the front. What is Tesla charging? Oh yeah, $20,000. Well, that's for all four, but even if you just did the front, $10,000 for carbon ceramic. When someone finally gets those carbon ceramic brakes, I'm gonna take mine because I'm gonna do the rears as well later on. I want to test, see which is better. Is your $20,000 worth any distance, stopping distance? MountainPass Performance has great instructions on how to do all this stuff, but we're going to suspend this caliper. We're not going to have to do anything as far as bleeding the brakes. The bracket goes in between, so space this out. You use the stock brake pads, which you can upgrade the brake pads as well. Later on with MountainPass, they're going to have some upgraded brake pads if you want to track this car. This video is going to be the install video, and a different video I'm going to be testing the stock brakes with these brakes, and we're going to see the difference. If there's a difference, normal driving. Of course, on the track, there's definitely going to be a difference, but let's see what the difference is later on in a separate video. So make sure you're subscribed if you want to see those videos, and then later on, probably late summer when someone gets the carbon ceramics, I'll test those as well. Maybe even the unplugged performance ones, although they just have the front, so it might not be fair. Just kidding. 80% of your stopping or 85% of your stopping is done on the front brakes anyway. But this thing is 5,000 pounds, so you want to have good brakes. So I really think once you look at the directions, you can look at the directions now before you purchase this, but the scariest part is going to be cutting the dust shield off. There's two ways of doing that. I suggest cutting it off, and that's what I'm going to do. You don't really need it, and what it really does, it protects dust from going all over the wheels and everything, but it actually heats up your brakes a little bit. So especially on the racetrack, if you're going to be on the racetrack, you definitely want to remove that. You'll get a lot more airflow to the brakes and they won't overheat. So that's one good thing, especially if you're going to be going super fast with this. You're going to do some time trials or high-speed runs. You definitely don't want those on there. And you definitely want some good brakes, because the brakes aren't that great from Tesla. Mostly the brake pads. The rotors are pretty thick, but they can't dissipate the heat as much as something like this. This is a lot lighter, so unsprung weight is going to be a lot better for you. I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to start undoing some stuff. So the bolts on the back here are 21 millimeters. You want to just, I broke those loose right now. There's also a 10 millimeter bolt that holds the brake line in place. You want to take that off as well, because we're going to move this. And I just have a wire, like electrical wire from your house. Well, my house, not your house. I'm just going to suspend this up out of the way, so I'm not putting any stress on the brake line, because I'm not replacing that yet. Maybe later we'll replace that. You saw that move, so I'm going to take and screw on a lug nut backwards, so I get flat up against there. That way this doesn't move. One thing about these Tesla calipers, they actually retract. When you're not using them, they retract from the rotors, which is kind of cool because it has less rolling resistance, so you can roll better, so you're not wasting power or wasting brakes. So that means it's a little loose, which makes it easy getting off. But we do, since that is a lot thicker, we do have to compress those a little bit before we put the caliper back on. So I've just got the wire wrapped around the control arm, run through the brake, and then hooked right on there. That helps hold the liner in place as you're installing it. But those are out of the way. Now we can remove this. And remove the brake. Oh my God, this thing's heavy. Much heavier than that one. I don't remember the exact size offhand, but I'll have it listed right here. So the next step is to remove this dust shield, and right here is the thinnest section. I'm going to try to find my tin snips. Once I release here, these bolts, these are T30s, then we can just cut that off, bend it right off, and you know what? This doesn't say Tesla like the Model 3s do. Huh. That sucks. I was hoping to have it up on the wall somewhere, but it doesn't say anything. I guess we could chalk this up to added weight savings. So these are the only tin snips I could find. I had some bigger ones, but I can't find them at this moment. But it's a small section here, so I'm hoping this will work. If not, I have an angle grinder that I can cut that off. But let's see if this works. All right. You see there's no stress or anything on the brake line itself. This is your wheel speed sensor, so if you don't want traction control at all, just remove this and your car will go crazy. So if you're going to be on the racetrack, now that you don't have the dust shield on there or the heat shield, then you do want to wrap this in some foil or something that's going to dissipate the heat. I'm going to clean some of this surface rust off, and then we're going to put that on. Now, if you notice, these are directional. You want to make sure you don't put these on backwards, otherwise it's not going to remove the air and the heat from the rotor. So they are directional. This says left, so we're going to put the left there. Slide that on, then we're going to take one of the bolts, one of the lug nuts again, feed it on there so it sits there. That does look nice though, doesn't it? The next step is to compress the brake pads a little bit, and you can do that with your hands. Just get in there and squeeze them, because this is 1.3 millimeters thicker. So you need to do that, otherwise it's not going to fit. So the way this works is this needs to sit out a little bit because this is bigger. You can't just bolt it right there. So they have these spacers. I don't know if you can see that, it's a little dark in here, but you have this spacer which is going to go here, and then the caliper sits on top of that. With the hardware provided, these will sit right there. You put this down, you use a torque wrench at 100 foot-pounds, and then that's on there solid. We do need to move this a little bit since this is the bracket for the brake line. We're going to move that down just a little bit. And the provided hardware is a little bigger, it's 22 millimeter. Here's the two rotors next to each other. I tried putting them on top of each other, but you really don't see the difference. Once I put them on the ground, this is the stock rotor height, and this is the new rotor height. So you can see it's a lot taller, which is going to help because we're going to put the brakes out farther, and you get better stopping, clamping power. All right, so this is a dirty job, but look at those results. That looks so good, especially with these Martian wheels. These are MW05s. It opens it up so much so you can see the caliper, you can see the rotor. These look amazing. I can't wait to get it on the ground. I do have to seat the brakes and everything, but I gotta wash my hands before I do anything. Let me show you outside. This looks awesome. I can't wait to get the back ones done. That'll be another video because those are on back order. I'll get those later. All right, I seated the brakes. I drove around the neighborhood, kind of hitting the brakes a little hard. You can see there's marks on them right now. I did swap out my lug nuts on my Model Y for, these are titanium lug nuts, so I got super light lug nuts. Just adds to the weight savings of this whole setup here, and the blue actually matches pretty good. Even though this wrap is going away really soon, I got a different blue coming that will look amazing. You can even see the brake pads go all the way out to the end. You can see the marks that are there, and these will smooth up a little bit better. These will, once I seat the brakes even more on the road, because I'm gonna go pick up my son from work, and I'm gonna be able to drive at full speed, hit the brakes a little bit, and really make sure there's a difference. And I will be testing these later on. Stay tuned for that. Click the link down below if you're interested in these. These are only like 1,600 bucks. There's no discount code. MountainPass is a small company. They have amazing products, and it's worth the money. Definitely worth the money. Don't give Tesla 20 grand. Buy these and put the 18,000 into Tesla stock right before it splits. I'm not a financial expert, so do your own research, but that is a good deal. Definitely a good deal.